All right, let's dive into something pretty cool today.
Sounds good.
We're talking about a school project from Denmark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
By Kesser and Steen, 2 students.
Okay.
Who decided to explore a protected pond.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this pond is actually designated as a natural area under Danish law.
Okay, so it's not just any old pond.
No, definitely not.
All right, I'm intrigued. What did they find?
Well, they ended up finding a creature that's protected across the entire EU.
Oh, wow. Now that's a find for a school project.
Right. Pretty impressive.
So what was this special creature they found?
It's called the Great Crested Newt.
The Great Crested Newt.
Yeah, scientifically known as Triturus cristatus.
Oh, okay, I've heard of that one.
And it's actually listed in Annex 4th of the EU Habitats Directive.
Oh, wow. So that means it plays a pretty important role in the European ecosystem.
Exactly, and it needs that strict protection.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and Kesser and Steen actually found that during mating season, the male newt undergoes this dramatic transformation.
Oh, really?
It develops this spiky crest.
A spiky crest?
Yeah, along its back, and it gets this ivory stripe on its tail.
Wow. So it's kind of like a makeover for mating season.
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty cool. And it's all part of their courtship ritual to attract the females.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what happens after the mating season, though?
Well, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
The Great Crested Newt, it actually leads a double life.
A double life.
Yeah, they're aquatic in the spring for breeding, but when it gets to autumn and winter, they become terrestrial.
Wait, so they actually leave the pond...
They do.
And head for land. Where do they even go?
Well, you might be surprised to find them in wood piles or cellars.
Cellars?
Wow.
Even wells?
That's wild. I can totally see why people would mistake them for lizards.
Exactly. And that's why the protected status of the pond is so important.
Yeah, because they need both those aquatic and terrestrial habitats.
Exactly, to thrive.
So speaking of thriving, what do these newts even eat? Are they picky?
Oh, they're carnivores.
But they have quite a diverse palate, I would say.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, in the water, they feast on crustaceans like daphnia, water fleas, snails, tadpoles, and sometimes even,
What?
They've been known to resort to cannibalism.
Cannibalistic newts? No way.
True.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what about when they're on land then?
Well, on land, their menu expands a bit.
Okay.
They'll eat insects, worms, and more snails.
So they're pretty adaptable.
They are quite adaptable predators, yes.
Wow. So we're seeing this really intricate food web dynamic at play here.
Exactly.
It's like a balancing act.
It really is a delicate balance.
And the Great Crested Newt is right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of this complex web of predator-prey relationships.
So they're prey to some animals and predators to others.
Exactly. So that's why protecting a single species like this can have these ripple effects.
Yeah, throughout the whole ecosystem.
Whole thing.
So Kesser and Steen's project really shows how important it is to understand these relationships.
It really does.
Yeah, and it's through projects like this that we get those valuable insights.
Absolutely.
To these amazing ecosystems.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it really is remarkable what you can learn just from observing nature.
Totally. And Kesser and Steen's project is proof you don't need some fancy lab to make these discoveries.
That's for sure.
Speaking of discoveries, their research uncovered some pretty interesting things about the Great Crested Newt's biology.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Their breathing methods.
Oh, right. The newts, they have a unique way of breathing.
Yeah, what's so special about it?
They can actually absorb oxygen through their skin.
Through their skin?
Yeah.
That's wild. So that means they need to, stay moist all the time?
Exactly. That's why they're usually found near water or in damp environments.
Makes sense, especially when they're on land.
Right.
Now, I'm curious, how long do these creatures live for?
Well, on average, a great crested newt can live for about 6 to 8 years in the wild.
Not bad for a little amphibian.
Yeah.
But I imagine they face quite a few threats with their habitat needs and, environmental pressures and all that.
Yeah, you're right. Habitat loss is a major concern for them.
Yeah.
Pollution as well.
Of course.
And the introduction of invasive species.
That seems to be a common theme these days, sadly.
It is, but the good news is there are conservation efforts in place to protect these newts and their habitats.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, there's definitely a growing awareness of how important it is to preserve biodiversity.
I like to hear that. So Kesser and Steen's project really highlights the value of citizen science.
I agree completely.
It's amazing how even young students can contribute valuable data to research and conservation.
It is pretty inspiring, right? Like anyone, regardless of their age or experience, can make a difference.
It's a good reminder for all of us.
It is.
We all have a role to play when it comes to protecting the natural world.
We do.
And their findings could have some serious implications for future conservation strategies.
For sure. Their research could really help with decisions about habitat management and restoration.
Potentially even influencing policy.
Exactly.
So their school project could actually help ensure the long-term survival of these creatures.
It really could. It's a testament to the power of curiosity,
Yeah.
Observation, a passion for nature.
Absolutely. And it's amazing how sometimes the most impactful discoveries come from the simplest beginnings.
That's very true.
Now that brings me to another aspect of Kesser and Steen's research, which focuses on
Okay, what's that?
dragonfly larvae.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'll admit dragonfly larvae aren't exactly the most, exciting creatures.
We might be surprised.
Okay, what makes them so special?
For one thing, they're these, voracious predators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they play a huge role in keeping other insect populations in check.
Like what kind of insects?
Even mosquitoes.
Oh, so they're like the mosquito control of the pond.
Exactly, and their hunting techniques are pretty remarkable.
Oh, yeah, what do they do?
Well, they have this extendable jaw.
An extendable jaw.
Yeah, and they use it to snatch up their prey super fast.
Like a built-in harpoon.
Pretty much. It's amazing, right?
That's so cool. And here's another thing.
Okay.
Dragonfly larvae can spend years underwater before they transform into those adult dragonflies.
Years. Wow, that's a long childhood.
I know, it's longer than some human teenage years.
That's true. So what are they doing all that time underwater?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, they go through a bunch of molts.
Molts?
Yeah, they shed their skin as they grow.
Oh, wow. So each molt gets them closer to becoming a dragonfly.
Exactly. It's like this fascinating metamorphosis.
I bet Kesser and Steen loved watching all of this unfold.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Their notebooks must be full of amazing observations.
I can only imagine. So they really got to see the complexity of this pond's food web firsthand.
They did, and they learned about the crucial role these little creatures play.
In keeping everything balanced.
Exactly, even the creatures we might not think about too much.
Right, so from the great crested newt to these dragonfly larvae, Kesser and Steen's project really opened up this hidden world.
It did a world full of life and complexity.
And it's a reminder that every creature has a part to play.
It really is, no matter how small.
Absolutely.
And it shows why protecting these environments is so important.
Yeah, not just for individual species, but for the whole planet.
A whole thing.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Kesser and Steen's incredible project.
Wow, what a journey.
I know, from newt makeovers to the secret lives of dragonfly larvae, we've uncovered so much.
We have, and it all started with a simple school project.
It just goes to show the power of curiosity and a passion for nature.
Absolutely. Who knows what other mysteries are out there waiting to be discovered?
Yeah, maybe it's time we all take a page from Kesser and Steen's book and do some exploring ourselves.
I think you're right. You never know what you might find.
That's for sure.